What's happening, everybody? Christian Pedersen here with San Diego Prep Insider. We're going live right now with minimal necessarily like stuff to bring you because we're just going to be breaking down what exactly the CIF's statement today means for the return to play of high school sports in San Diego specifically, but I think larger across the state-wise. We have it on our social media at SD Prep Insider on Twitter, on Instagram. We will additionally have on later today with us John Labetta, the former San Diego CIF section commissioner, who is going to provide a ton of information. But I just want to real quick read the statement and walk through it with everybody in terms of what this actually means for us, because it can be a little confusing with all of these different guidelines going on. It says, in today's COVID-19 press briefing, and again, this is from the CIF State, Governor Newsom and Dr. Mark Galey from the California Department of Public Health disclosed that the release of updated youth sports guidance has been postponed. Therefore, the current guidance remains in effect, and CIF competitions are not allowed until new guidance is provided. That can sound horrible. No CIF competitions until new guidance is provided. As I realized, I got a weird little kind of self thing going there. I apologize for that. We don't do much live here, but also sail the ship. But what that means really in effect for everybody is not that sports are canceled. It means that the existing protocol is still in place. The existing protocol said December 14th is when things can get started. Here is our plan for this. Here is our plan for that. So we will also be reposting the existing plan so people can see this and understand that CIF is saying we are not changing anything. But their statement of, right now they are not allowed means what it's always meant is that we're not going to allow anybody coming back to do anything official CIF related until the 14th of December. That means that what you are seeing and have been seeing with people starting to do workouts, starting to return to football practices in quotation marks, is not CIF sanctioned or guidance or led anything. It's that school doing their off-season workout. There's a reason those football teams are not in pads. There's a reason that those volleyball or lacrosse teams or whatever it is that are doing these off-season workouts or doing off-season workouts. This is not CIF stuff anyway. It never has been and never will be. CIF, let's just use football as the example here. CIF sports start the day that training camp starts. So all of this that you're seeing right now in terms of who's back on campus working out, who's doing limited conditioning, who's not been, all of the let us play hashtag, fighting with the Sweetwater School District, is set to not really be changed by this, because that was all off-season, school-specific type workouts that different districts and different schools were saying, we are not going to let you get this done because we don't want anybody back on because that violates our principles or our terms and conditions. This is not CIF related stuff. CIF has always said from day one of them releasing the current guidance, here is where we will start, here is where we will end. Everything else in between is up to every single school and district and individual site as to whether or not you want to participate in it and be part of it. What they are saying in effect with this press release is we were hoping for, or we were looking for further outlined guidance from the state in terms of how effectively to deal with requisite amounts of PPE for schools, and what happens when a player tests positive. Do you isolate that team? How many kids can be allowed to suit up or travel on a bus? It was that kind of guidance that CIF is hoping for to elaborate further on what exactly the season's going to look like, not whether or not it's going to happen. Right now, this does not change whether or not the season's going to happen. CIF will not release that in a last 8 words of a press release. They will come out very clearly and say, sports, unfortunately, are canceled or postponed or something more significant like that. They will not just come out and sort of say, yeah, we're waiting on other guidance. Yeah, we'll get back to it. Right now, until you hear otherwise from the governor and the state in either direction, that sports are pushed back or that they are sped up or they are more or less opened or limited or anything like that, nothing has changed. What you are seeing posted on CIF CIF social media is just a further deference to the state for guidance. They are saying the same thing they have always been saying, is that public health officials will dictate the return to action more than anybody or anything else, full stop. The ability for the offensive coordinator at this school or the water polo coach at that school to get on their social media and start banging away at some hashtag has zero bearing on this. The ability for one school district to open up versus a different school district to close down has zero bearing on this. Right now, CIF is functionality. They are saying we will provide a framework for which every individual school district and school and team, and however far down the line you want to go with that, can make their own informed decision for themselves. Full stop, end of fact. I would now be on the opinion side of this. I think that this says leaps and bounds without saying anything. This says CIF is not trying to cancel anything. I think if CIF was legitimately worried in a way that was going to negatively affect us, they would have come out and said this. They would have said, due to the governor not having anything to say, we are preemptively pushing things back, or we are going to go ahead and plan on canceling the state playoffs now to give ourselves more time. And I don't want to play out all the hypothetical scenarios. I just want everyone to understand that CIF is not canceling sports. They are not further pushing sports back. CIF is simply saying we have a framework and we are not deviating from that until we hear otherwise. To me, that is a great move because we have seen numbers go up, go down, go back up, go back down, and coming out and saying something right now when those numbers can change in 2 weeks and we can get out of the purple tier back into the red or yellow or green or whatever the different tiers are. I apologize for not, I'm hyped up on coffee in high school football and not necessarily on my color coordination right now. But I think that this is very solid that CIF has come out and said, we are going to maintain, they are sailing the ship straight on forward. And I apologize for the audio people that are not understanding why I keep making that reference. Jump over to our YouTube and you can see what I'm wearing. Because I want to see my Vikes repeat as champs. That's what I want. I'm right there with all of you guys that I want sports back. What does this mean potentially in terms of cascading effects? Are they going to move this season back a couple weeks? Are they going to start the other season differently? We see differences between indoor sports and outdoor sports. That's what CIF is sort of backing up and saying, look, we are going to wait for further exact guidelines from the state before we jump out and say football is good to go, but volleyball is, or something like that. Because CIF is trying to carve out as wide of a lane as they can to say we're going to get everything back. And this press release is basically here otherwise, and that the governor and his office have continuously said, we'll get you updates, we'll get you updates, we'll get you updates, but the updates keep getting pushed back. So CIF is jumping out here not to get in anybody's way or to slow anybody down or to stop anything from happening. They are simply saying they are planning on going forward as is. So don't panic. Don't worry, folks. Don't worry until something on here says in big, bold words, sports are postponed or canceled. That's what I got. We'll be back in a few minutes or an hour, depending, or 10 days or whatever time. I know that this is not a linear thing that you guys listen to this show and then it hits a commercial break, you go to another one. But we will have another video posted on all our channels with John Labetta, the former CIF San Diego Section Commissioner, who's going to help us break down in a little bit more back into detail what this all really means. So we appreciate you guys tuning in for us, doing a little bit of an update here, and we'll talk to you guys later.